Hello and welcome to Graceful Connections presented by Academy for the Soul. I'm your host, Sophie Bidar, and the co-creator of Graceful Connections together with Christel Hughes, founder of Academy for the Soul, the online school for intuitive arts. So thank you for joining today. And whether you are on the live call or on the replay, thank you for bringing your beautiful presence, the contribution of your unique vibration within the orb of grace. And today we're together for a live Q&A with Alicia Power. First, let's begin with creating our sacred space. I invite you to relax and take a few deep breaths. Breathing out all that does not belong to this moment. Let's bring all of your attention, your presence here and now. We set our intention that our time together, all that is shared in words and beyond the words, all the energies that we call in and flows of our highest good, our evolution, and be of service to the highest good of all. You can decide to open your heart and be ready to receive. And you can decide to open your mind and be ready to receive. Remembering your connection to the center, to the heart of the earth, and your connection to the center, to the heart of the universe. You are held, both grounded and suspended. You are safe, relaxed, and ready, and open to receive. Now I'm calling the orb of grace from the heart of the universe and placing the orb of grace around our group, around our gathering, and each and every one of us. That we be held in the orb of grace and infused with grace all along our time together. Let's take a moment to adjust to the purity and the subtle high frequency of grace, allowing it to gracefully dissolve, realign, harmonize, amplify, magnify all that needs to be so, in purest alignment with divine will and the divine order of grace. And breathe. Beautiful. Now, within our sacred space of the Orb of Grace, I'm delighted to welcome again our brilliant expert, Alicia Power. She's your graceful guide into the acceleration of your awakening and ascension, creating heaven on earth by upgrading your soul field in order to hold more light. It is so wonderful to have you with us again, Alicia. Welcome today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am truly excited to hang out with everyone today and to see where these conversations go today. Very, very exciting. Can't wait.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. And I mentioned being with Alicia again because we had a really amazing video meetup together a couple of days ago. And if you missed it, you want to be sure to catch up. You have the link on your webcast and on your replay page. And Alicia shared about the creator beings, her fascinating story with them, and how they are looking for humans who are willing to radically upgrade, accelerate, and partner with them, giving them instructions for personal and global glorious change. Humans who have this hunger for their soul to reveal itself and do what they truly came here to do. So today we're going to dive right there into the exploration of the whys and the hows of working, partnering, playing with the creator beings. And Alicia will answer your questions of collective interest. So please write your question in the Q&A box on the webcast page. We're not going to take live callers today. So if you haven't done so already, place your question in the Q&A box. And while you do that, everyone, before we get started, Alicia, are there any highlights that you want to share from our meetup or any key takeaways you would like to remind everyone about that would set the stage for our Q&A today?
You know, when I channel and let these beings speak through me, and there's so much information, and there's so much knowledge, and there's so much perspective, higher perspective that comes through, and also hope for our soul. Like our soul's looking for hope, and and I never can pin anything specific because there's just so much. There's a paradigm shift, very much so, and it's nothing to do with your intellect or your logic. Excuse me. But yeah. Sophie, what you said, and also I was reminded about this as a key point, and that is that these beings, and this is because this audience that's listening today, you know, you guys are powerful souls. You guys are already powerful souls, already down the track with your soul evolution and soul development and spiritual development. And genuinely and honestly, these beings are looking for souls that want to actualize their soul agenda in this lifetime. Not only that, they're looking for souls that are happy to walk and talk as a human in this lifetime, carrying creator being light in them, because that light is super activating, because it comes from outside this universe, outside the spirit universe. It comes from the levels of the creator overseer beings of this universe and of all universes. So it's a very high, sort of super powerful light. And that light holds codes, it holds instructions, it holds intelligence. And when you allow it into your field and you stand under the waterfall in some of the journeys, in the courses, and you travel up to be with these creator beings and hang out with them and commune with them and communicate with them, and then they infuse your auric field with this light. So you show up in order for that infusion to happen. Your auric field starts to change. It starts to get fitter, and it starts to be able to hold that light more and more. And subliminally, you change. Your inner platform develops and grows and lifts. So your inner platform, where you're standing from inside yourself and looking out at your world and the way you see yourself and the way you think about yourself, way beyond your logic, begins to change. So there's a growth that begins just from exposure to that activation of that light. And these beings are looking for souls that want to accelerate themselves, but also accelerate the quantum plasma field around them, and learn how to partner with these creator beings for global change, for global instruction, because these beings have their hand on the entire reality globally, and learn how to partner with them, learn how to show up and be with them and communicate with them and dialogue with them two-way, and begin a journey in this lifetime from this point, walking with super accelerated beings that can lift you out of your soul wounds, can lift you out of your inertia, can lift you out of your numbness, can lift you out of fear, can lift you out of anxiety, or can push you forward and put you back on your feet as an empowered spiritual leader. That's what begins to happen. It's peeling away the forgetting of what you are and letting emerge something that is true and real and as what you really are. That's what you came here to do and be as a soul. And all it is the light, exposure to that light and the infusion of it, because, yeah, lots to talk about there. But anyway, they are looking for
Wonderful.
people who can,
And
yeah.
yes, you've already answered some questions. I'm reading through some of the questions about the auric field. So thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that really sets the stage. So we're going to dive into the questions. And everyone, I want to let you know that there will be a special announcement towards the end of our time together. So make sure to stay all along to make the best of this opportunity we have with Alicia. Let's start with a question that many have asked. Tara in BC, Shoan in Brussels, Tunia in Brisbane, and others have asked, how do I strengthen my soul field and upgrade my life?
Yeah. You upgrade your life by strengthening your soul field. It's as simple as that. So strengthening your soul field is pretty well much the job at hand to do immediately. It's the first order of business. So strengthening your soul field needs to be your priority at this point. And there's a few options. Like you can find a really good spiritual healer who's been doing it for quite a while. And the reason you find a highly experienced spiritual healer, energy worker, is because the teams of spirit technicians that work with that person will have upgraded over time as this person's been working. So it's just what happens when you're an energy worker and you do it for a decade or 2 decades. Higher and higher teams of spirit technicians begin to work with you. And what you're looking for is deep experience, but also those partnerships in the worlds of spirit. Is everybody hearing that? That is so important. And that's why people come to work with me, come to jump into the courses, jump into these recorded channeled processes that take you there, take you into the worlds of spirit and start you opening partnerships, opening friends, finding friends in the worlds of spirit who are ever more advanced. So people come to work with me because of my partnerships in the worlds of spirit, because I've been clearly two-way dialoguing with the worlds of spirit for over 30 years, 30 plus years, 33, 34 years. And the teams of beings that I work with are so multi-layered, like from those highest layers of the worlds of the creator beings all the way down to physical body teams of beings working on the physical blueprints, and all the way in between, intermediate different teams. So people come and work with these courses because they get introduced to these different levels of teams and walk away from that with these teams as part of their support teams that you can quite specifically start working with. Cleaning up and strengthening your soul field means allowing a team of spirit technicians to scan your auric field and to see where the fear memory is sitting. Certainly from this lifetime, there's usually quite a lot from this lifetime, usually early childhood, but very quickly their attention starts moving to your Akashic records, your soul memory, your soul level memory, your soul history before it entered this lifetime. And sometimes it travels all the way back to your soul history before any human lifetimes. So your soul traveled in existences in the worlds of spirit for about 80% of its journey before it started moving into human lifetimes. So there's a long, long, long history of the soul interacting with circumstances where there were giant learning curves, impactful learning curves. And because the soul in that early journey trajectory, arc of the soul journey, was given roles to play, was given responsibilities, was given opportunities to explore leadership and to explore resilience and to explore decision making and to explore knowing the difference and resonances. So there was a lot of learning, and there were a lot of falling on your nose and making mistakes and getting exposure to shadow frequency in a very impactful way, which left a mark, left scarring in that soul history. And so these, these spirit technician teams start walking down the corridors, down the tunnels of your soul history, opening the doors, taking a look, getting an instant snapshot of how deep the trauma is, how deep the scarring is, and the story of what happened. And so they keep walking and walking and walking and doing huge, huge meaning like there's so much detail to do for them to do to clean it up, and so much deal making, renegotiations, closing of gateways, healing the soul and putting it back on its feet in that wound, in that spot, in that wound. So building the light in your soul field, strengthening the soul field, the very first thing to do is to expose yourself to an energy worker with teams that partners with beautiful spirit technician teams who've got the ability to travel down those ancient tunnels into the very early stages of your soul development and taking a look at the fear that's sitting there, because it is still training and entraining you today, that fear. It's a resonance, it's sentient, it knows who you are. It was very deliberate in the way that it entered your system, your energy system. I'm talking about the fear resonance. And it very easily can still be controlling you at moments of decision making, at moments of envisioning yourself in your higher capability, envisioning, like giving yourself a sense of hope that you can move to the next stage, to the next step. So in that moment, a hesitation can come in. And oftentimes, it's a little cold breeze. I was talking about this, a little cold wind from way back in a little window open in the back of the room. The cold breezes come in and just shut down your sense of possibility. And that stops you from maximizing your potential as a light worker in this lifetime. And so healing the soul field is about, what's the word, forensic work by these spirit technician teams traveling down these ancient Akashic records. And over time, closing a lot of those doors, a lot of those windows with that cold breeze, so that you start to feel kind of relaxed in your power. And you're not afraid of what people think of you. You're not afraid of speaking up. You're not afraid of showing up in your angelic light. And you're not afraid of, revealing that to the world. Remember, so many beautiful angelic souls don't want to be seen. They just don't. And it's unconscious. It's an unconscious reflex because of the many lifetimes of being traumatized. So healing the soul field is exposing yourself over many sessions, and probably a year or 2 or 3 of doing these building of resilience and closing these ancient doorways in the back of the room. And because it's like a bucket. When you plug up the holes, the light can fill up and the power can fill up. But not only that, all these, I'm being told to say right now, all these spirit teams that are working with you on a healing table somewhere, they begin to become part of your support system. They will be walking with you as well. And I'm always one of my huge passions, and I'm very driven about this, is to teach people to hear their spirit teams so that they can stand in front of them and have a conversation and ask them questions about what the stage I'm moving through is, right? Because you could be moving through a deep release, a deep soul wound release. And so to have a conversation with the teams that are monitoring that movement through that release, there's all kinds of conversations you could have with them. Like, I want to slow down the releasing, or I want that, this is a good one, or I want that releasing to be shortcut. So it's a shortcut to the release, not missing anything, in terms of the healing. So all the healing is integrated and it's done correctly. All the detail is done correctly, but to speed it up so I can move into my next phase, into my next wave, catch the next wave, like surf the next wave of my power and my showing up. So those kinds of permission moments with spirit teams are very, very critical in the speed capability of you stepping into your freedom in your light leadership. Lots to talk about in this whole thing, but yeah.
Yeah. And the wonderful thing is, as you talk, you answer many other questions. I'm seeing there were quite a few questions about people who can't consciously communicate with their guides. Can they work with the creator beings, or who don't have a conscious awareness of their guides or feeling of connection and all that? So that's included in the work with them, right? In the learning to work with them.
So. That's why I offer. We're going to talk about one of the special offer courses in the special offer package. Yeah, that's why there's huge collections of channeled workshops with these creator beings and with my spirit teams. And one of them is called Spirit Tutor Connection, which is the most incredible collection of workshops where you are taken to stand in front of and call on high spirit mentors who show up, and you learn how to feel them. This particular course, this particular collection of these workshops is fully 100% designed to help you learn how to hear them. And it's particularly unusual because it's high authority spirit tutors that will come and meet you inside these channeled workshops. So it's not your lower guides, it's not your everyday guides. These are high spirit mentors who are committed to accelerating you in this lifetime. So, and they've got the ability to accelerate you. So they're keen, they're excited, they're passionate about your acceleration, these particular beings, and they've got enormous power to pull, push, gently assist you to move quickly into your awakening and into your leadership and into your empowerment. So that question was really important about being able to sense your spirit guides. So these modules in the Spirit Tutor Connection are designed to be repeated even every single day, because every time you jump into the process, the journey, the ritual journey to get there, to the place where you meet, it's new. They arrive and a whole new process, a whole new interaction happens, brand new every single time, and always designed by them, because the spirit world shows up because it's a non-locality quantum principle, that when you go into the quantum, into the spirit world, there's no time and space. So if you follow the same ritual journey by listening to my voice to take you there, the experience you have will be fresh, will be brand new with these spirit teams. They will show up for you fresh and take you to your next lesson and to your next learning, the next aha, the next penny drop. So once you've got that course, you can just use it every day, every second day, for the rest of your life to awaken that two-way sensory experience of sensing their answers, sensing their questions to you. Because they ask you questions. They ask you permission questions. So it's an interface that you need practice at noticing what's happening in that interface. So you can say, oh no, I can't hear my spirit guides. But have you practiced? Have you stood in front of them for hours and hours and hours? And especially when you've got my voice prompting the interaction, prompting a question that you can send them, prompting what's taking place between you and that spirit being. So there's guidance there in that moment. And so it's determination. It's courage and determination and decision. You make a decision that you want the concrete between you and that spirit mentor to melt. You really want that concrete to melt because you want in this lifetime to have that clear dialogue, that clear conversation. It's your legacy. It's your right to have it. And so it's on your shoulders. It really is on your shoulders. I do want to say there's a couple of factors that come in around being very tight in yourself in that moment when you're wanting to hear. Now, I just want to say that many of you know my story where I wasn't talking to the worlds of spirit when I was a kid. I opened up deliberately when I was about 31, 32. And I couldn't hear them to start with, but I decided to practice. And so I turned my attention to that interface between them and myself every day. And because I did, it's like It's like a searchlight swinging around and putting your searchlight attention on that spot where your spirit guide is, and then practicing asking a question, noticing what happens. Every day, a couple of times a day. So you make the decision to do that. And then there's a couple of things where I quite often suggest. I've got courses, I've got introductory courses. Spirit Tutor Connection is also starts off introductory, gives you tons of steps to take and lots of tips and lots of clues, and gives you lots of time to feel that interaction. And yeah, lots and lots of tips as you're in front of your guide. But there's a few different tools you can use. Stream of consciousness writing, or it's a very complex thing, stream of consciousness writing. You can be asking your inner child. You can be asking your critical adult. You can be asking the multitude of selves that you are to answer. Or you could be asking a spirit guide to answer a question as you're writing, right? You ask a question and then you start writing without editing. So it's stream of consciousness. You let go of your critical self and you don't know what you're about to write next. You haven't got your eyes closed, you're watching, but you're not necessarily comprehending as you're writing, because it's after you've written a sentence, then you go back and read it and grok and understand what's being written. But the practice of asking your guide a question and then trusting innocently, just start writing whatever starts coming, that starts building confidence in you and starts building a trust that someone's actually there, someone's talking back to you, someone's giving you advice, someone's lifting your perspective with every word. And suddenly there's a dawning in you that there's someone there lifting you up. There's someone there that you can ask advice from. And that time in your life, that was a long time ago for me now, but that time in your life where there's this dawning and the penny drop in you that there's someone there that you can turn to ask a question, that's just really huge. It's a huge moment in your life where you can suddenly realize that you can lean back. Someone is looking after you. Someone is there. No matter how crowded your life is with family and social circles, this is very different. This is your soul. And your soul's getting looked at. Someone is talking to your soul. So it's a very alone thing where your soul suddenly feels not so alone in this life. So it's a huge time, a huge moment in your life. And so I'm just suggesting that writing answers from your spirit guide. I did that for a year. I did it deliberately. I deliberately wanted to practice because I knew that talking to my spirit guide was my way out of confusion in this lifetime. It was my door out of my not knowing anything. So, because I just want to quickly mention this thing, that as we're growing up as kids, we know we're special. We still kind of can half remember that we're an amazing soul, even as kids. And yet the whole world says you're not special. You're just another human. Don't treat yourself as special. You know, we now know because we've done therapy that it's completely okay to love ourselves as our priority and completely talk ourselves up, right? But I remember as a teenager having this split experience of nobody turns around and tells you you're special, or it's consciously kind of frowned upon, that whole term. And yet here we are walking, talking as a vast, unlimited, angelic being with zero humans mirroring back to us that we are that. Literally zero. And no detail in our external reality giving us any acknowledgement of that. None. Not one detail. Not one word. And so that's it's like a split reality. And that's why talking to your spirit guide, there's this relief that suddenly, slowly, as you begin to talk to your spirit guide, slowly there's this grief that releases that you are this vast angelic being, that there's teams of spirit mentors that are ready to walk with you to unpeel, what do you call it? Shades off your eyes, to unpeel, to get rid of the blindness, and to slowly piece back like a jigsaw puzzle the remembering of what you are and of who you are. And then there's this sort of eruption of real strength and real power in you. Nobody else needs to know about it, but you can feel it in you. And I'm talking about, strengthening your soul field, starting to talk with your spirit guides, because this eruption of your power needs to happen in this lifetime. Where you step past all the naysayers, where you step past, because I see so many beautiful spiritual women trying to be like a business, business women, and out there running businesses. I run a business. I've been marketing online for 15 years. So in a way, I run a business. So I really understand it. I understand marketing really well. I understand online business really well. 15 years I've been doing it. But I'm just wanting to say that there's this grief in these beautiful souls where they look at people who are in business leadership, for example, or anyway, just running successful businesses, and you can feel disempowered looking at someone like that. And what starts happening is this beautiful thing, which is that you start remembering yourself as a being of light, and all of those points of reference on the outside start being put back in their real place, which is that they really don't matter, and it's not who you are. Because as you remember your self as a vast light being, you really don't care what anyone else is doing. It's really beautiful. That's a beautiful thing, because you start getting busy. You start getting busy spruiking, as they say. You start getting busy shining your light. And you know that that's what you're here for, shining your light. And there's this huge engine in you, like a rocket fuel engine, just starts revving. And it's insatiable. You can't stop it. And really, if you shoot past all of those successful businesswomen who have not awakened, have not remembered who they are, you don't even spend a second thinking about them, because you're busy. You're busy shining. You're busy helping others wake up. And along the way, maybe people just want to learn from you. They feel your power. They feel your heart. They feel that you're awakened. And that's all that real, souls that are hungry, that's all they want. They want help with awakening to who they are. So all of that business stuff, it just starts happening. It's a beautiful thing. I think what I'm describing here is that everything on the outside pales, like all your points of reference of success kind of melt away, because finally you know who you are. And none of that holds any interest in you anymore. And that's a really important thing. I think I was going to say just a little bit earlier is that I meet incredibly beautiful spiritual women who are still afraid of what am I trying to say? Getting into that much more public visibility. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a leap for them still. So that's a really beautiful, putting the spotlight on that and taking a look at that. It's like, oh, let's look at that. Public visibility.
Yeah, and you're such a role model for that. Definitely, yeah. Okay. Well, again, wonderful. You've answered many more questions on the way. Before we go on, let's, as you mentioned, the special offer. Let's go into this. Give a bit of highlight. Now, we're not going to go into many details because you did really describe in many details during the meetup. But let's give a highlight on the special offer, Soul Awakening Acceleration, that you have created for our Graceful Connections. So for everyone, you have a button on your webcast page. If you're on the replay, just scroll down the page, or you can go to gracefulconnections.com/Alicia2. And so let me give the highlight. Soul Awakening Acceleration, you have two options. Option 2 is the Creator Being Acceleration 7-module course. And option 1 is the full package, including this Creator Being Acceleration 7-module course, plus the Spirit Tutor Connection package, 9-module, 9 treasures course. And option 1 is the full package with the 2 courses. You have a 2-payment option and even a 3-payment option, making it very accessible. Is there any highlight you want to bring, Alicia, to these 2 packages, these 2 courses? All the details are in the special offer page. You have a very detailed description, bullet by bullet, of all the content. So go ahead and check this out. Alicia, anything you want to add about this?
It's such a comprehensive package, and the 2 of them go beautifully for you guys, for you as the audience, as advanced souls listening to this, because you guys are an advanced audience. So it's what the creative beings are offering you. They're offering you their light. They're offering you their upgrades. They're offering fast upgrades. The word acceleration is very important with them. Remember that the light changes you very, very quickly and upgrades your software very quickly, right? So this whole package of the 2 courses or just Creative Being Acceleration, they're offering it to you as a serious acceleration gift, pretty well much. And their light, the Creative Being Acceleration collection of modules and workshops there are just so potent, just walking you through getting to know them and their scope of how they can work with you and taking you into moments of teaching you how to work with them for very specific things, for global change, right? Global instruction, how to tune. I just want to quickly say they don't ever teach in theory. There's no theory in working with the creator beings. They push you straight into moments of doing something and feeling it, so you know how to do it. Getting, like you were talking about jumping on that bike, right? Oh my gosh, Sophie, it was such a delicious analogy, right? So they push you into the experience so that you sense the scope of the experience and feel how and what you're doing, and then take that on board. So with the Creative Being Acceleration, there are so many moments, so many opportunities to travel up. It takes quite a long time sometimes up these elevators of light to get to where they are, and then to move through a process with them, which is completely carefully designed for this introductory stage for you guys to get to know how to be in front of them, what kind of questions to ask them, what kind of permissions to give them, what kind of requests to give them for your life, for your soul. All of this is so profoundly significant for your soul, all of these things that I'm talking about. And it's all pertaining to acceleration of your awakening. So the Creative Being Acceleration on its own is beyond important because you walk into circumstances with them. One of them, you stand under a waterfall of light where there's such a powerful infusion. It was foretold for eons, and it's really going to change the trajectory of your life to receive that level of software, of life software. That's one of those modules. The last module is the story of how shadow and light, how the universe was designed with shadow and light, and the battle between shadow and light. So it's a snapshot from the point of view of the creative beings who are outside the game of light and shadow. A very, very impactful module. And once you jump into there and start reading the comments from people who've explored that module, you'll get a quick sense of how important it was for everyone to go through and experience that particular module. So Creative Being Acceleration, beyond important for your life. Spirit Tutor Connection, 9 modules, sequentially moving through and adding a skill base, and then the next skill, and then the next skill. Now, the skills that are being given in Spirit Tutor Connection are not something that your logical mind would ever think about, because when you stand in front of an advanced spirit mentor, you don't know their capability of changing your soul. That's why this course was created, to teach you the capability of what they can do for you. And so every module is taking you to another one, and to another one, and to another one. That's why it's critical, this particular course, Spirit Tutor Connection. You guys hearing that? Like the scope. And it's because I've been standing in front of them for 30 years and they've taught me what their scope is, what they can do with me. And every word is channeled in this. It's from them. It's their contribution. It's not mine. So that's my overview. There's just so much there, and I do recommend that even just reading the modules and the bullet points teaches you so much on
That's
its
what I
own. Just
thought.
looking.
Absolutely, yeah. The special offer page is a teaching in itself, and
Yes.
taking in each bullet point is a teaching in itself. So let's get started there.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, thank you. Well, let me bounce on the acceleration. And before taking that question, I want to say to everyone, I really want to honor you, Alicia, because it is very exceptional that you do Q&A. And so we really, really we appreciate every moment, every minute that we have with you. And we appreciate that you do us the honor to give us time and to do this Q&A together, and we want to honor you. We have quite a few comments of honoring you and appreciating you and the creator being.
Oh,
So
thank
yes,
you, guys.
yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Now, on the theme of acceleration, there's a few questions actually. Philip from Berlin says, I love the idea of spiritual acceleration, but how can I be sure it will be safe and not crash into my life like a wrecking ball? We also have Brigitte saying, can the light be too much for our nervous system, or do the creator beings always make sure our physical bodies will be safe? So about this safety and the degree of acceleration.
It's a really important question, both of you. And when I first started working with the creator beings 33 years ago, something like that, this was a critical question for me too. I'd done therapy, so I was very self-aware and very honoring of my emotions, of my body. And I actually ended up teaching the creator beings, can you believe this? Where they ended up learning about, let me just see how I can put this. They ended up learning about how to shift a human's energy in a way that it doesn't disrupt their daily reality. So over time, because of my years at therapy, they were getting feedback from me, and also concepts and also words that were new for them, so ideas that were new for them, that they bent over backwards and were so passionate about learning about, because I think it was because they were so passionate about getting on with partnering with a human. The reason why, I haven't mentioned this in this particular talk, but the reason why they wanted to partner with a human and with humans is because they need our free will. They honor our free will 1,000,000%. And they arrived with that light from outside this universe because they wanted to increase the quotient of light in this universe. This universe had quotients of shadow and light, and shadow as a software was pushing light to a corner. Unfortunately, it's a very viral, aggressive software. And as shadow is a resonance. It's a software. It's a psychic software. So that's why they arrived, to bring their light, which is a overseeing authority light coming in, to find humans, to give them instructions and permissions to make changes in that quotient of light, in that percentage of light and shadow. So that's my quick statement quickly here, is that they are 1,000,000% honoring of our free will. And in order for them to begin to work with humans, such an intelligent conversation. Thank you for these questions. In order for them to begin to work with humans, they had to step down their power, in a way, you could say, in order for them to touch the fabric of our soul field and to start making shifts and changes that would honor the movement of our upgrade, that would honor what would start taking place, like ancient griefs, right, coming up. Or, the the sediment of grief from not this lifetime, but from very, very big occlusions, very big impact zones. Excuse me. where something highly significant for the soul happened, which would normally take years and years to precipitate out and flow out of the auric field. They had the jurisdiction to be able to sort of wrap that wound up in a cocoon of light and do all of the procedures that they needed to do, which includes negotiating with high echelons of darkness and shadow for them to no longer be connected, for example, to that wound spot in the aura, in the matrix of the aura. So lots of negotiation, a lot of detail to happen in that work. But as you're saying, when deep unconscious inner shifts happen, they do flow to the surface. And sometimes, yes, our own unconscious griefs might be, normally would be flowing up, or external realities would start showing up in ways that were mirroring that release. So these guys with me, because I was giving them lots of feedback as I was walking along with them, and I was releasing, and I was getting cleaned up by them, giving them lots and lots and lots of feedback, letting them know how I was, what I needed. They learnt to stabilize our reality as these deep shifts were happening. They learnt to integrate the change deep in our unconscious so that the learning curve, the realizations were happening not in the logic conscious mind, but in the deep unconscious. So it was integrated as a learning, as a change of platform inside of ourselves in the unconscious, so that we could stand solidly on that new platform because it was getting lifted. So they learned, in a very fast way, I'm trying to describe, that they learned to integrate the unconscious with their laser precision shifts. I'm not saying this is an overnight change, especially when you're working, when they are working and their teams are working with some of these big 5 to 7 Akashic record soul wounds, because we've got millions of them, but there's usually huge ones, big ones, like where something very big happened that we made an error about, and it's just there sitting. So anyway, so they work carefully. And they're telling me to say right now they are open to feedback, and they are understanding the fragility of the human unconscious and the way that the aura is designed and the way that information enters the aura and gets metabolized in the aura. They understand all of that. These are master technicians of light waves and of the aura. So they are wanting me to say right now they understand that. They've learned a lot over 30 years. And so just to let those people who are asking those questions know that there is acceleration, and the beings that are walking with you now know how to do it so that you stay stable. They're just letting you know that.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you. And we have a testimonial coming in just about that. Jeannie writes, creator beings will never give you too much. You will not be overwhelmed. You will get the amount perfect fit for you every time. I have worked with them over 10 years. So yes, absolutely. That's confirmation. And thank you, Alicia, for doing the training them to work with us so that now we can work
Jeannie.
with them as well. Yes, thank you, Jeannie. Alicia, are you good to take a couple more questions?
Yes, I am.
Because we have some really, really critical questions. We have so many questions, and I really want to appreciate everyone for that. I'm going to group a number of questions into two that are really, really critical before we get into our special announcement. So we have many questions about specific physical, mental, and emotional health issues. So let's group all of these questions into one question. Can the creator beings help with physical, mental, and emotional health, and how?
So I was a professional energy healer, auric healer and I still am, right, for 35 years. I've looked into the auric field every single day for 35 years. It's a long time. Understanding how the human experiences reality and experiences emotion and experiences its thoughts because of what's sitting in the auric field. The auric field is a tissue, it's a fabric, it's like a physical tissue. And the state of your auric tissue controls your thoughts, it controls your emotions, it controls your point of view, it controls your inner platform. So your aura and all of the energy bodies of the aura are constantly flowing and moving according to the external energetic plasma that you're walking through, and that's interfacing with your auric field. It's flowing into your auric field. Your auric field is radiating and transmitting constantly out into that surrounding quantum plasma. So it's a constant fluid situation, but it's data and it's information. And not only have we got our own traumas and memory, soul memory, and this life's memory sitting as resonance in our auric field, which is projecting through all the energy bodies into and traveling up, percolating up to the surface, to our conscious mind, to our conscious feeling self. Not only are all those stories, soul stories, this lifetime human stories, memory, it's all percolating up constantly, pushing our attention around, controlling our emotions, informing our feeling, informing our state. So all of that memory is information, and it's software, it's almost digital code sitting in the waveforms of our auric fabric, our auric tissue. So mental state, physical tissue sits on blueprints, on energetic blueprints, as I was saying recently. Scientists are now working with that hands-on deliberately in double-blind studies, in laboratories, working with those energy blueprints of the physical tissue of your body. They haven't sort of quite got to, I don't think, working with human energy fields, but I'm just saying this is all of your physical tissue issues are to do with the blueprints of your body's energy field. I call it the blueprint. It's usually to do with emotional shock that's sitting somewhere, still resonating and vibrating. Often, I'm going to get a little brutal here, but often it's to do with entities, little mischievous energy beings that have jumped in. Because you walk down a dark street one night somewhere in the city or something, and it jumped in, and suddenly 2 weeks down the track you've got a sore hip or something. Because and it just happens every day, all the time. They jump in and they lodge themselves. These are force fields, and they're sentient, and they start. And they know what they're doing. They start entraining the entire multi-layered auric fabric of your aura and the layers of the blueprints of your body. In training, they start controlling the kind of resonance that's sitting in your entire aura. They start controlling your perspective. They definitely start setting up resonance. What's the word? Not circumstances, but the like a vibrational force field that instructs the physical cells to start contracting and start deteriorating. Just letting you guys know that physical issues, unless you chopped your hand off or something and had an accident, an acute moment of some kind of an accident, that's a little bit different, where you fell over and grazed your knee or something. And usually, by the way, that is a psychic spirit world naughty mischievous moment as well, by the way, tripping over and scraping your knee, any kind of disorganized phenomena in your life, right? The spirit world is very active around us. I'm being really brutally honest here because you guys are a little bit advanced. But if you've got a chronic issue, it's usually entities from a long time ago and a long time accumulation of entities in your blueprints of your body, and they're just having a field day and just shutting down systems in your body. So shutting down the metabolism of your cells in a particular part of your body and starting to cause inflammation. And and it just keeps going. It's like this, I'm laughing, but it's not a laughing matter, but it starts creating like a domino effect of more and more and more deterioration of tissue. It just is. And so I spend my day, a section of my day, a part of my day, usually in the morning, taking an inventory with my spirit teams, taking a look at my body's blueprints and looking at any entities that might have jumped in there overnight, or if I've come back from being out at night, going to a restaurant or something. I can tell you I'll be taking a very good look to see what's in my aura because I know too much about how it starts setting up issues in the body, and it's entity-based. So just to give everybody a quick framework of how this works, and if you've been working with Christel in the Academy, by the way, she teaches a lot of this work of switching off software codes and working with Metatron and anyway, excellent training. So anyway, so that's a quick overview. Sophie, have you got any questions about that? Because it's quite an important question that sometimes it is a little bit new information for people. They don't realize it's an energetic issue that's causing the physical issue.
Well, the question I would go, if you ask me, is more about, so does that include like mental issues, mental health issues? Would you relate them as well, or?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It's a huge topic. I mean, it's a huge topic, and it's a very advanced topic, and I don't really want to drill into it too much.
Yeah.
So at the moment, but if I was to do a just skim on the top, if you're standing in front of someone who's abusing you as a child or as an adult, that person who's abusing you is usually at that very moment, their soul's gone, and there's a very high authority shadow being controlling the entire perception and the entire thoughts and motivation of that person. And that being who's standing in that person is with a fire hydrant pouring shadow into you, pouring fear into you, pouring and ripping your auric field with and downloading a lot of psychic software that sets up in you like a cave of that terror and trauma as a resonance, and it sits there and it'll just keep echoing away unless you get it pulled out. So if someone's been exposed to something like that repeatedly, your auric field will have lots of that cave, those caves of that that spirit, that shadow spirit being's software in you, and it'll be controlling your thoughts. And if it's been there for a very long time, there'll be constant reflexes in your unconscious that will be triggering panic, will be triggering an amplification of fear over and over again, and subliminal long-term anxiety. So because that kind of software, shadow software, is all about trying to shut down light workers. It's all about trying to shut down light. And it's all about trying to control that light and make it feel fear, right? Push it into a fear state. And so if you've been exposed to it for a very long time, that software is unfortunately training you to sit in anxiety, training you to sit in out-of-control thought loops. And you're a magnet, unfortunately, for lower entities that love that environment, and more and more can be attracted to it. So strengthening the auric field is a number one priority. I can't say that enough. It's not an immediate antidote to mental health. If somebody is clinically depressed and has a serious mental health issue, you really need professional practitioners. Sometimes even, I know it's controversial, but taking a bit of medication just to stabilize you, to get like a bridge into stability, can work. I used to say no, it's a terrible thing, but I'm now realizing that actually if it just stabilizes someone for a period of time, it's good, it's okay. But in that period of stability, start working towards the light. Start pulling a lot of that stuff out. Find somebody who is used to dealing with quite intense shadow, because there's people who work with that. That's their thing.
Right. Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And, I'm going to say, I love that there are so many questions and such a great interest. I would say, get on board and work with the creator beings, and you'll get all your questions answered. That's where you have an infinite Q&A for life, source of answers to all your questions. Now, let me take one more that is really key at this point from a few people I've asked about this. So let me group this question. From Joanna in LA, Joanna asks, how can I be sure I connect with a creator being and not a lower energy, even a trickster shadow entity? And we have Taylor asking, how do we make sure we are tapping into beings of light after we complete the course? Just to make sure that we're communicating with our highest guides and creator beings. So can you address
that's a really important question.
This point? It is, yes, before we get started, right? Yeah.
Very good questions, and important questions for people who are starting on this journey of wanting to open up to the worlds of spirit. Let me just see. It takes a little while for you to find your feet. At the very beginning, it's really interesting because the worlds of spirit will serve up to you what you can handle. Can you guys hear that? That's such a beautiful thing. The worlds of spirit will serve up to you what you can handle. Usually. There's a caveat on that. Usually. Won't be a second. I'm just thinking through how to put a lot of the stuff. Because when you first start, there's I'm not going to go into a training right now. Sure. But what I want to talk about is that when you open up to the worlds of spirit, there's protocols. And the protocol is the very sort of big one when you're starting. Okay, the big protocol when you're starting is that you command the space and you command what shows up for you. I went through this. I learned about this. There were times in those early years where sometimes something would show up and want to communicate with me, but it was not of the light. Maybe it was just curious, or it's just inappropriate because I just didn't want to. So it's important that you realize that you're in control and that you can command what you want happen. And the very first protocol is that when you're calling on a being of light, there's a couple of things. When you're jumping into a module and a process with me, with my voice, the particular teams that I work with show up. They start connecting to your auric field, and they create lots of safety vortexes around me and you. It's my voice in the recording to lift us. And gradually, there's a very specific journey that we take as you're listening to my voice and following it. That's why it's important when you're working with the creator beings straight away to, I'm recommending and I'm saying, please do this. Go there following my voice. Switch on the recording for quite a while in this journey with working with the worlds of spirit. Follow my voice instead of just on your own. Just do it so your auric field gets used to reaching for the right guys, okay? But the protocol is, if you're brand new at working and reaching into the worlds of spirit, if you're brand new, like I was at the very beginning, the very first protocol is that when you first invite a spirit being to arrive, you've already gone through a ritualistic journey to be standing somewhere in the worlds of spirit, and then you ask for that being to arrive. The very first thing that you're in the asking is that you ask that the being is of the light and love. So you're commanding that. The being that shows up is of the light and love. And then if you want to, as a being shows up, it's important, it's completely your right to say, are you of the light and love? And the weird thing in the world of spirit is that usually energy can't hide, can't disguise itself. Your whole being is going to be feeling the energy of that being. If your stomach's twisting, your logic's saying, oh, it looks okay, but your stomach's twisting, what are you going to be believing, right? So there's all sorts of kind of screening moments, checking, assessing at the beginning, so that before you get really strong with this, where you're taking steps to check, and you're in control. So, for example, if that happened where something showed up in front of me and it was inappropriate, and I can see it, I say, are you from the light and love? And that being kind of squirms like a kid, like a child, and it's going, well, no, not really. When you go, I command you to leave. Because it's just energy, and it's like being in the ocean. It'll just flow away because you commanded it to leave. There's a practice that starts happening. You just start noticing when you're doing this that you start getting warrior strong inside yourself in moments when you're speaking to spirit guides. So it starts happening. You start noticing that you have the right to ask for what you want. And then that feeling of that is a strength. And it is like being in the ocean. It's like you push it away. And you push it away just by the command. And then sometimes you could, in that moment, because it's a very brand new, fresh moment, you're inviting a spirit being to arrive that's appropriate for you, that's correct for you. You could open your eyes, stretch, take a glass of water, and then go back in there, so that your state is back. It's not an affair state. You're comfortable again, and you ask again. And usually when you're using my voice to go somewhere, to a place in the world of spirit, where you're interacting with a spirit guide, there's a lot of energies already being woven around you, so that which shows up is already a high vibrational being, very high vibrational being. That's why I'm always recommending using my voice. My voice brings them to you, brings these high authority beings to you. Couple of thoughts there, but that sort of very first time interface moment, you are in the strength. It's your moment. It's not their moment. I do want to say just really quickly, because it's on that sort of starting learning curve of working with spirit, something I want to say right up front, and that is that once you've got a spirit mentor that you love and that you trust, and I teach people to interview them so that you know a little bit about them. They've shown you a few things. They've shown you where they come from. They've given you a little taste of their resonance. They've shown you maybe another past life where you've walked with them and you know each other. And so you got used to them, and they've become like your primary mentor. So in any other circumstance, when you're working with the world of spirit, you invite that person, that being, to stand next to you and assess that other situation, assess something and let you know. So you're leaning on them a lot of the time from that point onwards, checking with them, what do they think about this? What do they think about this other spirit being that's standing in front of me, right? So they become your expert that you use. Very important in the world of spirit to start using these partnerships to do a lot of the work for you of assessing. But so it's building highways of love and trust and partnership in the worlds of spirit.
And with that, of communication and of guidance and support and clarity and all that, yeah.
Yeah, it's priceless. I can't believe it's been 3 decades where I first started to learn all this stuff. I really can't, and I can't believe I'm standing now where I am, looking back. Where have those years gone, right? And and it's always been an urgency for me. Like I started to communicate with my spirit guides, and within weeks I was teaching it because I'd already been giving satsang for over a decade.
Right.
And I was a workshop leader already. And so as soon as I learnt the skill, I thought every human needs to be able to do this, needs to be able to have that partnership in the worlds of spirit, to receive information, to lean on that partnership, to support them, to look after them, to heal them. Every human needs this. Anyway, I've been urgently passionate about it for the 3 decades.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for your dedication, and thank you for the privilege to be. It really is a privilege to be with you and to be with you in your presence and in receiving your words. I invite everyone once we hang up, or when you listen to the replay. Once we hang up, go back to the replay, or if you're on the replay, really go back and listen to every word. And so many questions that I'm screening now have been answered through your sharing. It is really packed. Your communications are really packed with insights and guidance. So everyone, make sure to go back to listen again, because there is so much that has been included there. Now, even if you didn't get your own question specifically answered directly, I'm sure that you get a sense of how Alicia and the creator beings can masterfully support your ascension, your awakening, your embracing and accelerating your divine destiny, but also support your daily life, right? As simple as that. Support and expand and upgrade your daily life. Now is the time for the grace of abundance to flow into our gathering. I mentioned a special announcement, and here it is. Alicia is offering a fast action bonus for Soul Awakening Acceleration, either option 1 or option 2, purchased until midnight Pacific time on Sunday, November the 12th. So, Alicia, would you let us know all about this superb fast action bonus you're offering?
So anyone who's purchased the packages either already or will until Sunday midnight Pacific, you guys are going to get this free inner journey, an hour and a half workshop and inner journey to meet your higher selves. And this, obviously, word for word channeled by the creator beings, facilitating us traveling up to meet our higher selves, our highlighting, our encounters with our higher selves. So I run live streams once a month for an hour and a half, very, very intensive workshops with the creator beings, where they take us on the most incredible journeys, where we receive the most incredible infusions of light. And this was one of them, but it was designed for us to meet our higher selves. So just really quickly, everybody, inside this particular 1.5 hour workshop, you will receive a very deep cleanup of your auric field even before we start the workshop proper. So teams of spirit technicians, we close our eyes and there's a forensic deep scan and healing of auric fields before we even start the main part of the workshop. Inside this, there are a lot of software upgrades, light upgrades of your soul field, lots and lots of journeys and processes, and profound meeting moments and deep soul wound healing inside this particular hour-and-a-half workshop, leading you, and the whole point really is that all the teams of spirit beings attending, because they arrive live to attend as you're listening, to drop you into a realization of who you are beyond this lifetime. That's what the entire workshop's for. And as you're traveling through the workshop, that's what the spirit technician beings that are attending you live are pushing you into a realization of who you are beyond this lifetime. And the why, understandings of the why you decided to incarnate into this planet. And you will meet amazing spirit beings from your own soul tribe, your home tribes. So moments inside this workshop, which are absolutely incredible spirit surgery of your higher and lower heart energy systems for powerful and ongoing integration of all of that healing that happens inside this particular 1.5 hour workshop. So you receive that beautiful gift for free. Don't have to pay for it. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank
you, Sophie. Yes. So everyone, make sure take action now to receive this amazing journey to meet your higher selves workshop in gratitude for your purchase of either option 1 or option 2 until Sunday, November 12th at midnight Pacific. That's very graceful, very generous of you, Alicia. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for your consideration. Now let's take a moment to breathe, to be present once again to the orb of grace, allowing it to remain there, holding us, holding all that we have received again today, so much that we may not even yet be aware that we have received, allowing it to settle in. Being held in the orb of grace for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all. And I'm closing now by giving gratitude to each and every one of you in the audience. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of grace and to the calling of your divine destiny to accelerate now. Immense gratitude to you, wonderful Alicia Power, for all the wisdom, the brilliance, the offerings you have gifted us today through all the graceful connections that have been woven with you, with your masterful expertise, along with those amazing high-level authority spirit mentors who are the creator beings. Thank you for your generosity of heart and time and wisdom and all that you are offering exclusively to our audience, including the Q&A today, which again is exceptional. It is very precious, very appreciated. And also I want to say, you said a bit earlier that everyone should be able to do this, have this communication with their spirit mentor and their spirit guides. And I totally agree with you on that. And I want to thank you for being there to support us and lead us and guide us into that. It is so precious and really wonderful to have you. Thank you so much, Alicia.
Thank you, Sophie. I just want to say you are an exceptional gathering facilitator, for gatherings. I've just loved hanging out with you and your beautiful spiritual intelligence. Really, that's the only way I can say it. Just beautiful, compassionate in your heart, and just catching all the subtle nuances that's being said. And anyway, on behalf of our audience today and the spirit beings who thought through the information and me, thank you so much, Sophie, for being the space holder.
Thank you.
Really, really
my pleasure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate those words. And as I said during the meetup, I have my own connection with the creator beings and have been working a few years already with them and with you, Alicia. So that's part of this quality. It builds into the quality of this gathering and communication. Thank you so much. Yes. Let's give also all our gratitude to Christel Hughes, the Academy for the Soul, for offering this platform in which graceful connections grow and expand, impacting our lives, our environment, and the world at large, creating heaven on earth. Gratitude to the Orb of Grace for providing a safe, sacred space for this journey of exploration. And gratitude for all the grace we are blessed with at every moment. Whether we are aware of it or not, it's offering all the nourishment, the nurturing, the healing, the revelations, and the realizations that we open our hearts to receive. Gratitude to our higher selves and all the higher beings who guide, support, and protect us. And gratitude to the divine. Thank you. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, creator beings. Thank you, everyone. Until we meet again, many graceful blessings to you all. Thank you, and goodbye for now.